know y'all thought it was over. I know y'all like, hold on. I know y'all thought y'all was never gonna see us again, ever. I mean, since we've been away, it's been like everybody and their mother coming with a podcast. But see, the difference is, we never was a podcast. We was a broadcast. You see how everybody jump on it? You see how everybody just, you know, they come out and act like they've been doing something forever, like, you know, they ain't go to school for it. Like, they just automatically got it after like 2 shows. Man, they ain't put no years in, bro. Like,
let me move my seat back real quick.
Step on him, bro.
Yeah, and get a little focus, man.
Step on him.
Everybody been jocking the style, but they can't, you know, they can't emulate the truth. You know, we've been telling y'all for years, we the illest and the best A&rs. Nobody has came with that theme of being the best A&rs on YouTube, except for the Kruze Review.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, you see people in their driveways or whatnot, like I said years ago. You see people sitting in their computer chairs. sitting in these PlayStation chairs, you know, you got your chair all decorated or whatnot, you know, looks real nice. You know, we'll say you got people in I wouldn't say so-called basements, but you see people in offices or whatnot, they got they therapist chairs.
Yeah.
You know, got nice themes to their shows or whatnot. You know, looks real cool, but it ain't it. It just ain't it. But anyway, since y'all thought it was over, we're gonna bring it right back. You know, you are now rocking with the fresh. Still.
Yeah.
I'm 4-Eye Fly.
TP.
Always, man.
Yeah.
Straight up. We just gonna go right into it this weekend.
Well, before we get into that, I gotta say this. Shout out to the New York Knicks for finally winning the NBA championship. I gotta throw that in there before we get started.
Oh, I wasn't even gonna say nothing about it. Listen, we ain't gonna sit up here in front. I'm gonna tell y'all, I stopped being a fan when you and missed that finger roll. Straight up, I got witnesses that will tell you I almost turned over a whole dumpster by myself. Cause if you seen, you know, the tapes of you in college and what you used to do, I just still to this day don't understand why he just didn't ram that in. So I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I've been a fan, but I was real happy for the city. It needed it. You know, I was real happy for the ones that had been fans for years. I thought it was well deserved, straight up. The way that, you know, it went down, it was well deserved. I will say that. Not to cut you off, bro.
Absolutely, man. So I just wanted to throw that in there, you know, before we get started.
Yeah.
Because we didn't never say our piece.
Yeah.
You know, on that one. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well done. Well done. So let's get to this weekend. I want to know, and ain't none of this been rehearsed. We ain't even talk about it. We ain't make a phone call, none of that. I called bro this morning, and told him, let's just do it. So
yeah, actually, he called me right in time too, cause I told him I had to get a cut.
Yeah.
So it came right in time. I got cleaned up.
Straight up. You see it? Nah, but what you think about, first of all, the detail of the show and then the 3 nights. What you think about?
I haven't watched the full show. I watched clips of it.
Yeah, me too.
This is kind of early, but I'm going to have to say this. When Jay-Z brought out Nas Esco, that was probably the highlight of the show.
Absolutely.
And also, it was symbolic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because most people was like, Nas, Nas is better than Jay-Z and blah, blah, blah. At this point in time, it's not really about that.
Yeah.
The symbolicness of it was the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
The Twin Towers coming back together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think when Jay-Z brought out Nas, man, that was real dope, man. That was real explosive. And also the details of that, when they was doing each other's when they was going back and forth, they was rhyming over each other's beats. I thought that was ill.
Yeah,
That's the first time I've ever seen that. And I thought that was very ill. What's your take on it, bro?
I think you nailed it when you said Nas, when he brought Nas out. Because it's, I think a lot of people might have thought that might have happened yesterday, which would have been Sunday, which would have been the last day of it happening.
Okay.
But I thought it was amazing for the first night of it. And, like you said, take away all of that, who's better, the battle. We ain't even gonna go there because it was, like you said, it wasn't about any of that. At this point in stage, it's about grown men being grown men, and I thought that was dope. I know it's gonna sound a little biased, because my wife asked me if I seen it, and I was like, nah, I ain't even gonna watch it, because I was thinking I was gonna be highly disappointed if I seen something. And I was really thinking about that. But something, I had to take my dog on a walk, and the first thing that popped up in my phone was that performance. And when I opened up my phone and I seen the fit, I was very much so enthused. And I said, yeah.
He put the Mets on the Durrell Strawberry.
Yeah. Side note, for those who haven't seen the documentary called Reggie, it's Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Go watch that documentary and you'll understand what I'm about to say. Because I told one of my homeboys, there's footage, there's evidence of Nas back in the day wearing Yankees. There is, and I'm not sure if he's seen the documentary. I'm not sure, if he detailed it for that. But from the looks of it, it seemed like, yeah, what he did was purposely. Once you watch that documentary, your take is gonna be different. There's a few teams, when it comes to sports teams, I refuse not to wear it for my own purposes. Even with myself, yeah, there's footage and there's images of me, when I was younger, rocking the Yankees. That is, I will admit that. you know, because it was a difference. But here, you know, not too long ago, a lot of things came out, and Reggie Jackson detailed being in the Hall of Fame and why he's not a representative of this franchise, because of the racism that's behind it. So, not to get all in detail with that, when Nas showed up and what he had on, like what bro said, he had on the Dow Strawberry gear. He also had one significant piece which made me be like, you know, yeah, I was excited because he had, I'm not sure if it was a towel or if it was a shirt out of his back pocket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I told my homeboy that signification was like a slave going back whipping his slave master. Because I know the uppers in that stadium, I know they was on fire. I know they was on fire to see that, because the Yankees don't like the most thing, they don't like Boston. We know how the Yankee fans feel about Boston, but other than Boston, it's only one thing that the Yankees hate, and that's a metropolitan. Straight up. From Flushing. Can't stand it. They got everything to say about it. That's fine how they feel about it or whatever. But, you know, my thing is, when it comes to the 3-day show and selling out Yankee Stadium, I thought that was amazing. I thought it was amazing with all the artists that was brought out. The show within itself was amazing. My only thing with it is the popular vote. Yeah. So, like I said, you know, that was kind of like a slave whipping its old slave master, you know, with that detail of his back pocket. I don't think a lot of people caught that, but, you know, that immediately had me excited to see that, because that needed to be done in more ways than just for hip-hop, but just overall. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you something, and a lot of people probably don't know. I know you haven't seen the footage or heard about it. I heard an interview earlier today when I was taking my wife to work, and it was Sway. And Sway was speaking about how he went Saturday, but Sunday, the last day, you know, it was a 6-hour delay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
and people couldn't get in. And I heard, you know, a woman detailed that she just got her tickets yesterday, last minute, off of StubHub, and she was detailing how it was a line outside. I think it was a line outside Saturday too, but she actually detailed that it was one police officer, and then I think it was one person taking tickets or whatever, and it kind of caused like a stampede of people trying to bum rush, you know, trying to get in. But, you know, it's amazing of a person like Jay that could sell out, you know, an arena like that, you know, all 3 days. I think he even outsold I think Saturday was the biggest seller, but I think he even sold it out I think he broke the record from Saturday on Sunday, I think it was said. Okay. Yeah, but, you know, for them not to detail, to have that, you know, security. This is Yankee Stadium we talking about.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a saying that he says, you know, I made the Yankee have more famous than the Yankees. You know, that's something that everybody ain't detailing, that aspect. And like I said, you know, Jay is the popular vote. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we living in a day and age to where, you know, hip-hop is vintage right now, you know. My only detail with that is it's great to see people, because there was a lot of out-of-towners that came to the show. There was, believe it or not, there was a lot of people from right here, Louisville, Kentucky, that went to support the show. That's great, but don't just support that show and act like you know, a hip-hop fan of hip-hop. Nah, if you're gonna support that show, support the other shows. How come we don't see none of these fans at none of the Wu-Tang concerts? How come we don't, see them at, any other concerts supporting artists like, Ice Cube or, somebody like that, or even, Snoop? Take it away from New York. Like, support the whole culture. Don't just get dressed up and do it, and then you want to put on this franchise hat like, you so Yankee or whatever, and you don't even know the meaning of the background, especially if you're a black person. Like, that really makes you look corny as ever. So that was my thing from it, and all the artists that came, like from yesterday, Usher, Rihanna, Tiana Taylor, Pharrell, the Clips, all of that, like, take for instance the BET Awards. When, I don't know if you've seen the BET Awards or not, but when it was mentioned Album of the Year for hip hop, and even when the name was mentioned, it was like, oh, and the Clips.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They kind of sidebarred.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was like a low detail. Then when the winner came, it was like, and the winner is, and it got even lower than what it was mentioned. It was the Clips, and you can hear it from the crowd. The crowd was like, what? And the crowd was, that was one of the best albums in decades.
Yeah.
But just because it's the Clips, it's like, you don't give no reaction or whatever. That part of it, I paid attention more, and I hate.
Well, the voices that were online, basically, like, I seen a poll, I think it was on YouTube, and majority of people said the Clips, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Album of the Year.
Yeah.
And I seen a couple posts on there, like Instagram and Facebook, people were saying the Clips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
you can't deny it.
Yeah.
But give them the same amount of love that you give Jay-Z. Especially with everything surrounding the background with him and Target and all of these politics around it or whatever. Don't just bring up the politics of somebody else because you dislike them. Keep that same energy with somebody you do love, like Jay. Let's not forget about what he got surrounding him and Beyonce or whatnot, because regardless of what anybody says and thinks, and this is not a takeaway at all, and this is not me being biased and hating, because bro, if anybody could tell you, he would tell you, that I wasn't the biggest Nas fan either at first.
Yeah.
So, this is not no takeaway from him, but Jay he does a lot of corny stuff just like anybody else. The intro to the concert, that'll show you, like, with him sitting in the seats and Beyonce doing cornrows or whatever, and him sitting in the crowd just going crazy. For somebody that don't, there's not a real hip hop head, they're gonna look at it like, oh, that was just amazing. No, it wasn't. That was real corny.
Shout out Dame Dash.
Yeah. And I'll say it too. Dame does a lot of corny stuff too.
Yeah.
You can't uncorny yourself. It's like, with Rick Ross. Just because you got money, you got all this property, bro, it don't take away from you being corny. You can't even get this girlfriend, this so-called girlfriend of yours, to kiss you in the mouth. You look corny. You're a cornball. You look corny, straight up. You better all go into the office, getting one of them strippers out of there to be your girlfriend and this chick. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look real stupid and corny. Like, you can't uncorny yourself. So that's my thing, is like, if you're gonna be a supporter of hip hop, do it all around. Shout out to Bad Seed. because, you know, make the underground great again. You know, like Bad Seeds say a lot. Don't just support all of these artists doing these albums or whatever. Support some of these artists from the underground because their albums are just as good. Straight
just
up.
as good or even better.
Even better. Even better, straight up. You know, like I said, I'm gonna get to it. But that was my thing about it. You know, what else you got to say, bro?
Man, I said a minute ago, shout out to Dame Dash because I think Dame has been one of the biggest critics of Jay-Z. Some of the corniness that bro was talking about.
Yeah. Seriously.
It's just, you know, some of the things that he's been doing lately, you know, like the hairdo and, you know, things like that. But I would like to say this though. Dame, how you not know who Prodigy is?
Come on.
He's got a new video, and he's, you know, the interviewer is asking him about the issue between Jay-Z and Mobb Deep. And he proceeded, he was talking about it, and he was like, which one was Prodigy? I think Prodigy was a dark-skinned one or whatever. Talking about Havoc. Like, how you not know who Prodigy is?
Come on.
You know? Then the detail, because he didn't really know what happened in a situation in the club that night when Jay-Z was in there and they boxed him in. So that's in Prodigy's book, where he talks about it, where
Jermaine Dupri tried to scatter.
Yeah, he was with JD. Yeah, he was with JD, and Mobb Deep was in there. So they cornered every exit in the club. And when Jay-Z walked about 5 yards with his hands out and walked up to Prodigy and said, "Man, it's just rap music.
It's just music." Yeah, that right there was corny.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's aspects that people don't want to admit, and you know they'll detail or how you know that happened or whatever. Look, regardless if it happened or not, there's other aspects to the person that makes them corny. You know, should that be the focus? No, I'm not saying that automatically should be the focus, but let's not forget about it. Is all I'm saying. Like, don't try to detail, you know, somebody else or whatever. Like take for instance what bro said. Let's flip it. You know, take away Nas and put Prodigy in there. You can't tell me looking back at it. You know, at the time everybody was looking at it like, oh, it was great or whatever. But if you look at it now, if we was in the aspects of now with autism, with, you know, being on the spectrum and, you know, all of these health issues, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, things like that, then Jay will really look like a sucker for getting on the Summer Jam screen talking about Prodigy, you know, having sickle cell. You can't tell me that, and that's not just me being a fan of Prodigy. That would be anybody. That you think of somebody else. There's only one other person that detailed sickle cell, and it was corny for him too, and that's Pop. That was a weak shot. If anything, I could see if, you know, you detailed him not being a great MC or great rapper. We all know that's not true because, you know, Jay said it out of his mouth. He thought he made great music. So you had to stoop that low to say something about his health. Then you said, which made it even cornier. If you keep going down the line, it gets cornier and cornier. He brought up the detail of him wearing a Michael Jackson jacket and being dressed like Michael Jackson. Who in the 80s wasn't dressing like Michael Jackson? So if you go back and detail it, it makes it even cornier. And there's a lot of people. I got homeboys that I'm close with that'll even tell me still to this day if I ask them, well, I don't like Mobb Deep and I don't really listen to Prodigy.
Yeah.
And the only reason because of that is because of Pac saying something about it.
Yep.
If it isn't Pac, then it's because of what Jay-Z did at Summer Jam. Is the only reason they don't detail, Mobb Deep or whatever. But I said to one of my other homeboys, and I've been saying it here lately, and I've been speaking a lot out about it. A lot of people are New York naive. I told one of my homeboys, yo, bro, you very New York naive. You think because of what you see, on YouTube and what you see on TV, you think that goes over in the city. Let me tell you, it don't. There's a lot of these rappers who y'all think is just the greatest ever. They can't walk inside of the projects. They can't. And I asked, my homeboy this question, and I want to detail this right now, even to bro. And I haven't even mentioned this to bro, but I want to see bro's reaction. I said, okay, so, because we was talking about the E-Money Bags Prodigy situation, and for those that don't know about this, you go do your research, because I ain't talking about it no more. Go back and watch the older Kruze reviews of us talking about it. Do your research. But I said, okay, answer me this. If the situation with, Jay didn't happen, what bro just said, and Jermaine Dupri and them blocking the doors, if that didn't happen and Jay's so tough, why is Bleak the only artist out of Marcy projects that he only signed? You can't tell me it wasn't no other MCs out of Marcy. Why you have to go all the way down to Philly to get artists? Why is Bleak the only artist in New York that Jay ever signed? I mean, if he's so project, if he's so P or whatever, answer me that. Answer me that. You can't. It's impossible because everybody knows he needed that backup. You had to go to a whole nother city to get artists to represent you after you put these people on the radio. Whatever happened to that kid who he had freestyling with Beans and Freeway called H Money Bags? Where's he at?
H Money Bags.
See, that's the stuff people won't detail and they don't, they don't want to talk about or whatever, but you have to. You can't get past those things because those things actually happen. That lets you know those things are real. Yeah, I just want to, even with the interviewers, people like Sway, how come that question never was asked when it comes to Jay? Because he's Jay? Nah. There's only a few MCs that can go back to where they from and walk around and be good. You don't see Jay walking around his old neighborhood. When's the last time you seen him walking around his old neighborhood? When MTV News had cameras and was walking around with him? Does he go back home often? I wouldn't go back to my old neighborhood either. Nah, don't just use that as no excuse, because that's what that is. No. No. Straight up. So, even with the concert, how come, wasn't no sections or none of that brought behind the scene with, the kids from the projects and all of that? Oh, you don't know that happened or whatever. Nah, if it happened, it would have been said. It ain't been said yet, so... that I'm just saying these are details that, nobody's thinking about because they just going with the popular vote. It's still dudes still going with the popular vote of thinking that he won that battle. You can think and believe what you want to believe, homeboy. It ain't what it is. But that's why I say, people are New York naive because they really think what they see, here on radio and what they see on TV actually goes on in the city. It don't. Because here's another signification right here. You don't see a lot of people in the city representing a lot of these people. Wonder why. You know, if you ask people in the city who's their favorite artist, a lot of these artists ain't even gonna be up. They might mention Jay later, you know, in their top 10, but I guarantee he ain't gonna be in their top 3 or whatever. So, you know, and people just think it's the craziest thing in the world when you don't have Jay and Nas in your top 5. Because there's dudes that ain't never been signed, walking the streets of New York that can rhyme on contact, and that's better. Straight up. Bad Seed being one of them. You know, Pacino being one of them.
Matter of fact, free Pacino.
Yeah.
He caught a case.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple years back, man. Free Pacino, man.
Straight up.
I ain't heard nobody really speaking on that in public, so
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just the aspects that, you know, we can't help but detail. You gotta detail those things when it comes to the person. And like I said, this is no takeaways from, you know, what happened this weekend for the culture, because him standing on stage with Nas, it was like Godzilla and King Kong. It was great for the culture. It was amazing to see. I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that everybody got a chance to shine. I'm glad that, you know, he did bring his wife out to sing Can't Knock the Hustle. I'm not for certain if Tiana Taylor needed to do that. She didn't sound good. But, you know, it was great to see, you know, just for music and hip hop itself or whatever. But let's not act like, you know, venues in New York City ain't never been sold out. Let's not act like Run DMC didn't do what they did to Madison Square Garden with the Adidas up in the air. Let's not act like Nas didn't do what he did at the Garden. You know, let's not act like that. And more than anything, let's not act like performance still rules over anything. And there's one detail of the show that will tell you that. One being when, you know, they was going back, when he was hyping up Nas and Nas was hyping him up. And, you know, New York State of Mind came in. Did you hear the crowd when New York State of Mind came in? For those that want this versus so bad between Jay and Nas, was y'all paying attention when New York State of Mind came in? Okay, so again, do you know how close Yankee Stadium is to Queensbridge? Get your maps out. Detail it. Detail these routes. See how close Yankee Stadium is to Queensbridge. See how close Yankee Stadium is to Madison Square Garden. And, you know, for the new interview that's going around with Snoop talking about what happened at Bryant Park and people saying it didn't happen, and Pac had dudes from Jersey, he had the Outlaws with him or whatever. Yeah. You see how close Bryant Park is to Queensbridge. Regardless of what happened, that'll tell you. But like I said, let's not act like these things did not happen. You know, and let's support hip hop as a whole. I want to see the same people that, you know, either got plane tickets or either drove up to New York City. I want to see these same people at Wu-Tang's concert. I want to see y'all, you know, at Ice Cube's concert. I want to see y'all at Snoop's concert. I want to see y'all represent T.I. like that. Jeezy, support, go to Vegas, you know, see Jeezy. I want to see the whole culture be supported in the same way and not have our picks and chooses, because, you know, that's what it is. And the main artist that deserves it, they don't get that support. You know, the Clips album need to be supported, because I'm going to tell you something that hasn't been said. I haven't heard nobody say it, even, you know, the grand stages of the biggest interviewers. Malice deserves praise for, you know, the spitting he was doing on that album. It ain't been an artist in decades that spit on the album like Malice did. Let's take away Pusha. Just malice alone. For him to go through what he went through, stepping away, getting closer to God, and losing both of his parents, and coming back and detailing that aspect, and, you know, getting the okay from his brother. Hey, man, what he did on that album needs to be praised, straight up, from all fans of hip-hop, all kind of fans, regardless if you listen to the Clips albums before or not. Hey, man, that cannot be overshadowed, straight up and down. What you got to say, bro?
Well, one of the biggest things that I gotta say is you going when you first started talking about people being insecure about New York.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing about that is, how can you not like something when you ain't never been to it and you ain't never experienced it? You know what I'm saying? You know, New York could be a place that you probably would love if you actually went and walked the streets and experienced it, but because you going by what you see on YouTube and what you see in, you know, articles or, you know, whatever you get your information from, you're basically stagnating yourself and keeping yourself boxed in. You know what I'm saying? And you not having that experience that you need to have. You know what I'm saying? You know, just like bro was talking about, you know, the Yankee, you know, well, back then, I think I said this on another video. Well, back in the day, you couldn't buy Mets hat this color.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So the Yankee hats was, you know, the only hats that you can wear that was green, blue, red, all different colors. They didn't have Mets hats, different colors, so you didn't really have a choice. You know what I'm saying? So now people are able to have a choice and travel and, you know, really see things and make up their own mind, man. You know what I'm saying? So you know, people got to cut that shit out, man. Like, especially grown men.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I can understand it back in the day when you a teenager. A foolish man does foolish things when he's young. When he gets old, grown, you know, people tend to know better. So I would tell people moving forward to, you know, go to those places, man. You know, check them out. See them for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because I was watching, what was I watching? Like the reels on Facebook, man. I didn't know, I mean, every reel I see about food is in New York. I just want to go for the food alone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just take a $20 bill. I seen a dude take a $20 bill and eat off $20 a whole. Where in America could you take a $20 bill nowadays and eat off of it for the whole day? You know what I'm saying?
Roosevelt Ave, my favorite street.
Yeah.
I was born on Parsons Boulevard in Flushing. Parsons connect to Roosevelt Ave. It was inevitable for that to happen, but yeah. You can eat, you can shop, drink, whatever you want to do on Roosevelt Ave.
Yeah, but this whole detail of, I don't like Mobb Deep because of this. I don't like this because of this. I don't like, that's corny.
Super corny, especially with, you know, the passing now of Prodigy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you said, it's really grown men that will not go to a concert because Havoc is going to be there representing Mobb Deep. But you don't want to go to a whole concert to see, you know, Nori or you know, like a Rock the Bells, like Nori, Ice Cube, you know, Salt and Pepper.
Shit, Cameron and them, Dipset might be there. You might be a big Dipset fan, but because of this cat, I don't want.
Like what I'm not understanding is the fact that you don't like Mobb Deep, but you love the Locks. Like, make that make sense.
Yeah.
Make that make sense, straight up. Just, I don't understand how you detail certain people and then certain people you don't. But that's to show you the, you know, what's it called? The biasness. You know, people just having picks and chooses of certain people. You don't like Mobb Deep, but you
small-minded.
Yeah, small-minded, but you love MOP. Like, come on. Like, how you get MOP, you know, if you don't have Mobb Deep? You know, like certain things or whatever. It's just crazy how biased people are when it comes to music, when it comes to areas as well, you know, and just people factoring off of, oh, I don't listen to East Coast. You don't listen to East Coast, but you listen to Rick Ross. Ain't he East Coast? Miami's on the East Coast, ain't it?
Nah, you ain't East Coast, but you listen to Pac. And Pac's from the East Coast.
Well, he's from the East Coast, but he detailed California.
Nah, he ain't when he went to Cali. Go watch some of them. Go watch some of them cats that was on Death Row.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
They didn't recognize Pac as a West Coast dude.
Yeah.
Because that ain't where he was from. That ain't where he grew up. That's where he moved to.
Absolutely.
So nah, y'all can't say none of that.
Nah, whatsoever. You know, it's just I don't know. It makes you not even want to have a conversation with certain people. You know, me and bro, not to get personal or anything like that, but it was a conversation that bro had with, you know, a guy years ago about living in a certain place, and you know, he was trying to detail the bro, oh, I don't live over there or whatever because of an experience he had years ago or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, that's your experience or whatever. That doesn't mean that your experience and your detail should play off on other people. Like, I'm supposed to think and agree with what you think of. Like, no. That's why I say, like, you know, it's hilarious to me because a lot of these conversations get brought to me, and it's kind of like a playoff. Like, people just say stuff and do stuff just to see how I'm gonna react to it or whatever, or, you know. And I don't even react to it because 9 times out of 10, like I said, the whole factor of the mind of it. A lot of y'all in New York naive, like you don't even have no idea what goes on in the projects and on the streets of New York. Like you really don't, you know, have any idea. You know, there's a show going on right now, Raising Kanan, and there's an actor on there that's playing one of Kanan's uncle or whatever, and you know, there was a saying in the song that KRS made, basically in the South Bronx or whatever, where he said, you know, we didn't hear a peep out of a place called Queens. And, you know, there's a little joke that's been going around like since the 70s and the 80s. You know, some people and cousins that I got from different boroughs, you know, they still kind of joke about it or whatever. They say, quiet Queens, quiet Queens. Like Queens has been quiet, you know, but this episode that just passed this week or whatever with on the show Raising Kanan, where the uncle beat up his nephew, they like, man, like I ain't know, you know what I'm saying? His uncle used to be. You mean to tell me you watched a documentary called The Supreme Team? You mean to tell me the Supreme Team was quiet? Like, come on, bro. Like, a lot of big names was living in Queens. Big Stretch is from Queens. Used to hang around Pop.
Yeah.
You know, like E-Money Bags represent Queens. He from Brooklyn. He was born in Brooklyn, but represent Queens. Like, you know, but what I'm saying is a lot of people would detail even these other boroughs. Like Brooklyn has just always been the hardest and everything out of Brooklyn. And I like Brooklyn and Brooklyn. Queens got just as much, probably more as Brooklyn does. When it comes to everything, like bro said, food, all of that. Like it's cool. It's no takeaways if that's what you like or whatever. You know, my wife loves Brooklyn. She's not from there, but she loves it, and that's fine. But at the same time, you know, just don't be biased out of one cause because that's your cause or whatever. And, you know, think somebody's crazy because they think differently or they got a different opinion in view or whatever. You know, it's just crazy. But 9 times out of 10, you're right, bro. It don't even be women, which is the craziest thing. It be so-called men.
Yeah, it'd be 100%.
Yeah, it'd be so-called men, you know, straight up. But yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy. But yeah, out of all the 3 days, bro, you know, what you seen, again, what was your favorite aspect out of the all 3 days so far, what you seen?
Well, I haven't, like I said, you know, the most, probably the biggest moment for me was the Nas and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like I have to go back and really watch some of the other, you know, moments that was on, you know, during the concert, during the show.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Nas and Jay-Z was probably the most standout moment. Because, you know, by the performance alone, I had them rhyming over each other's beats and doing things like that. Like I said, I've never seen nobody do that at a concert. So I think that was a big moment, you know, especially for hip hop. Yeah. Being that, you know, 2 artists that had a battle, you know what I'm saying, came back together and, you know, and sort of worked together. Very much so. Yeah.
I thought it was great. I would like to see the aspect of, you know, artists in the place of Jay that, you know, I guess in some kind of way is on the verge of retiring. I don't know if he's ever gonna make another album again or whatever, but, you know, having that place that, you know, that he's in right now, it would be amazing to see somebody like him represent an artist like Bad Seed. You know, give him that light or whatever. Even if it's just half a minute to let him get on stage. You know, of a grand scale like that and do his thing because he's from Bedford Stuyvesant too, right? Yeah. He's from there. Straight up. So he deserves that, especially, you know, with a knocker like this.
I got a rifle big as Bobby Brady. Probably made me leave a bunch of bullet holes in y'all Mercedes. And then he crashed into the marble ladies. Problem solved when I saw that if it involved my mama baby. She called me crazy, they fighting, but then they on me lazy. Cindy passed the burning the gin, then she started spraying. 6-man shit. You must have thought we was playing. The devil on my shoulder, man, cause he caught me praying. Bobby the little one, he on Jesse James shit. Me, I identify, I was up on the same shit. Barber, backflip, spinning around, I'm dangerous. Seesaw, he the nigga who voice changes.
Yeah, you can't tell me a record like that. You can't tell me even if Jay wasn't hyping him and wasn't ad-libbing Seed, even if he was just in the background, you know what I'm saying, mean mugging with his arms like that and just, you know, with his stanky hat on. You can't tell me that ain't knocking. You can't tell me the crowd wouldn't go crazy. If there's any artist that deserve that light, it's Seed. And I ain't saying that because that's my brother from another. I'm saying that because that's what he deserves. You know, and a lot of underground artists deserve that light. That's what we gotta bring it back to. That's what we gotta stop doing. We gotta stop judging so we don't be judged. We gotta stop having our opinion feeling like it gotta top everybody else's opinion. You know, we really gotta stop that. And the ones that gotta stop that are so-called grown men and the ones that are so-called hip-hop. You ask them, you know, if you so hip-hop, when's the last time you been to a go-hall? I never seen Method Man perform. I never seen you never seen your favorite artist perform, but you got the most say over everybody. Come on, bro. It don't work like that. Straight up. Do your research, do your history, you know, show love and support the underground. That's what I got to say. What you got to say, bro?
Man, you said it all. You said it. Man, you wrapped it up. You said it all, man. You know, support your favorite artists. Do your research, man. You know what I'm saying? Go on your Spotify and just, you know, when they see the new releases, man, just, you know, hit the, you know, the album and just, you know, just listen.
That's it.
It don't cost you nothing. You already paying your $9.99 for the you know, a subscription.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So you might as well just, you know,
yeah,
do your research.
You
know what I'm saying. You might find a new pair of sneakers that you like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. You know, it's a metaphor for the music, but
yeah.
You know, you're like, man, I ain't never seen those before. Same with music.
Absolutely.
I ain't never heard of this dude before, but he dope.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
They all across Instagram. Even if it's a clip that plays for 10 seconds. There's a lot of dope artists that you can find on Instagram that never had a chance, never had a shot, never had that light. But you know, can get that if you support them. Straight up and down. On the real.
Yeah.
Like I said, shout out to Bad Seed, shout out to Childs,
yeah.
Shout out Pacino. Shout out to Stack Dollars. You know, he just dropped a new album. He sent it to me. Can't remember the name, Stack, but y'all go support Stack Dollars. Look him up on YouTube and shout him out on Instagram and all of that. What you got to say, bro?
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, support your favorite artist, man. 100%. Tune in to the Kruze Reviewz.
Yeah,
man.
It's been a special report, y'all.
Yeah.
You never know. We might pop back out. You never know. It might be 3 months. It might be 6 months. You never know when we gonna pop back out. You know, y'all just stay tuned. I got another dropper for you real quick before we go. Let me get this off one time.
Y'all want this shit or not?
Oh yeah.
If you play with Joe, Porn, or any of these Spanish niggas coming up in this game, you ass was getting handed to you.
I don't know who's in charge. Bro don't know who's in charge. But whoever's in charge of, I don't know if it's Bus, I don't know West, I don't know who got going on.
No. Baby Grand.
Baby Grand. Y'all
Baby Grand.
Release Stove's album. Release it. Just let it go. That needs to happen. I just had to say that because I ain't get a chance to say that. Straight up.
If you play with Joe, Porn, or any of these Spanish niggas coming up in this game, you ass was getting handed to you. All the way in Rome, I can still smell it. All the way in Coast, we can still smell it.